No one talks about the silence. The days when the phone doesn't ring. The nights when no one checks in. The seasons where you're fighting battles no one else even sees. This is the isolation. And it hits different. You're doing the work, but no one notices. You're showing up, but it feels like no one cares. You're pouring everything out, and it feels like you're still empty. It's quiet. And in that quiet, the doubts get loud again. Maybe you're alone because you're not meant to win. Maybe you're the only one who struggles this much. Maybe it's time to let go of the dream. But here's what I've learned in the isolation. God does his deepest work in the dark. The soil doesn't speak when the seed is buried. But growth is still happening beneath the surface. Sometimes the people leave. Sometimes the support disappears. Sometimes the crowd walks away. But that's not always punishment. Sometimes, it's preparation. Isolation teaches you to stop relying on applause. And start relying on faith. It strips away the noise, the distractions, the need to be seen. And it reveals what's real. Because if you can keep going when no one is clapping, you're unstoppable. If you can believe in your calling when no one affirms it, you're unbreakable. If you can move forward without a spotlight, you've tapped into something deeper than hype. You've found purpose. Isolation is not the end of the story. It's the wilderness before the promise. Ask Moses. Ask David. Ask Jesus. Greatness always passes through the lonely road. So no, I'm not afraid of isolation anymore. I embrace it. Because in the silence, I hear God more clearly. In the stillness, I remember why I started. And in the absence of voices, I find my own. I stopped needing the crowd to believe in me. I just needed to believe in the one who called me. Because if God is with me, I'm never truly alone. So when it's quiet, I keep working. When it's lonely, I keep building. When it's dark, I keep walking. I don't quit just because no one's watching. I keep going because I know who's watching. The isolation didn't break me. It built me. It taught me discipline. It taught me intimacy with God. It taught me how to endure, when no one clapped, when no one came, when no one stayed. So no, I will not quit. Even in the isolation, especially in the isolation, I rise. There comes a moment when something shifts. After the silence, after the tears, after the loneliness and the loss, a voice rises inside you that says, enough. Enough fear. Enough shame. Enough letting life push you around. You stop waiting to be rescued. You stop hoping someone else will fix it. And you decide, I'm taking my life back. This is the fight back. It doesn't start with fists. It starts with fire. It starts with a decision. I will no longer be a prisoner to my past. I will no longer be defined by what broke me. This isn't about revenge. It's about redemption. You fight not to prove others wrong, but to prove to yourself that you still have something left. Something worth protecting. Something worth building. You remember who you are. And even more, who you were created to be. You remember the calling. You remember the promise. You remember the dream that never died, even when everything else did. And something rises. A roar. A fire. A holy defiance that says, I've been through too much to quit now. So you get back up. You stand taller this time. Not because the fight got easier, but because you got stronger. You stop running from the pain, and start using it. The tears become fuel. The failures become lessons. The scars become stories. You stop doubting and start declaring, I will rise. I will heal. I will win. And make no mistake, this won't be easy. You'll still face resistance. You'll still hear the voices telling you to give up. But this time, you don't listen. This time, you fight back. With every prayer. With every step. With every choice to keep going when quitting would be easier. You fight with vision. With faith. With purpose. You may not win every round, but you show up. Blooded, bruised, and breathless, you show up. Because this isn't just about survival. This is about taking territory. About reclaiming the life you almost gave up on. You stop asking for permission. You stop waiting for perfect conditions. You fight now, because now is all you've got. And that's more than enough. You fight not because you're fearless, but because something in you refuses to die. And when the dust settles, you'll still be standing. Not because it was easy, but because you didn't quit. You fought back. And that changed everything. This is your comeback. Your rise. Your redemption. And the world hasn't seen the best of you yet. And then, it happens. After all the waiting. After all the pain. After all the silent days and sleepless nights, a crack appears in the wall you've been pushing against. It's small at first. You almost miss it. But then light pours in. You feel it before you see it. The shift. The weight lifting. The winds turning. This is the breakthrough. Not just a lucky moment. Not some random chance. But the reward of every unseen seed you planted in faith. The result of every time you said yes when everything inside screamed quit. The breakthrough doesn't come to the most talented. It doesn't come to the loudest. It comes to the most faithful. To the one who stayed. To the one who kept walking when there was no path. To the one who chose discipline over comfort. To the one who fought back when giving up would have been easier. You didn't see the progress every day, but it was there. In the tears. In the training. In the tireless obedience to the quiet voice inside you saying, keep going. And now, the door opens. What felt impossible starts to move. What was dead begins to breathe again. Opportunities appear. People return. The dream awakens. But here's the truth. The breakthrough was never just about success. It was about transformation. It wasn't about getting the thing. It was about becoming the person. And you did. You became stronger. Wiser. More resilient. You learned how to stand without applause. How to grow without being seen. How to trust without a guarantee. You broke through because you refused to break down. You discovered something sacred. You didn't need everything to go right. You just needed to stay faithful. Because God doesn't waste pain. He uses it. Shapes it. Redeems it. The breakthrough isn't always loud. Sometimes it's a whisper. A door cracked open. A heart healed. A vision made clear. And when it happens, you don't celebrate with arrogance. You drop to your knees in gratitude. Because you remember the valley. You remember the isolation. You remember how close you were to quitting. And now, you've stepped into a new level. Not because the world opened the door. But because you didn't quit when it was shut. You pushed. You prayed. You persevered. And now the season shifts. This is your breakthrough. But it's just the beginning. You're not done yet. You're just getting started. Because you've proven one thing. When life knocks you down, you don't give up. You rise. You fight. You finish. You will not quit. One day, all the noise will fade. The spotlight will dim. The achievements will settle into history. And the world will move on. But one thing will remain. The legacy you leave behind. Not just in trophies or titles. But in the lives you touched. In the people you inspired. In the battles you won, that weren't just for you. Because every time you refused to quit, you gave someone else permission to keep going. Every time you showed up tired, someone else found strength. Every time you stood tall in the storm, someone else believed they could do the same. Legacy isn't built in the big moments. It's built in the daily grind. The quiet faith. The secret prayers. The decisions no one sees. But God does. Legacy is built when you choose character over convenience. Purpose over popularity. Obedience over applause. It's built when you keep going, not because of how you feel, but because of what you believe. You believed your life had meaning. You believed your pain had purpose. You believed that quitting wasn't an option, because your calling was bigger than your comfort. You didn't just endure. You influenced. You didn't just survive. You sowed seeds for a generation. And one day, someone will whisper, I didn't quit, because they didn't. That's legacy. Not perfection. Not a flawless journey. But a story of persistence. Of courage. Of rising, again and again and again. Your scars will speak louder than your success. Because they show you fought. They show you stayed. They show you overcame. Your children will remember. Your community will remember. Heaven will remember. You lived not just to exist, but to inspire. To shift atmospheres. To break cycles. To birth new beginnings. And long after you're gone, your fire will keep burning. Because legacy doesn't end with you. It multiplies. You weren't just fighting for your life. You were fighting for those who would come after you. You showed them how to keep going. How to believe. How to build. How to stand when everything around them is falling apart. And now your life is a lighthouse. A blueprint. A beacon. A reminder that greatness isn't always loud. Sometimes, it looks like quiet resilience. Steady faith. Unshakable commitment. You didn't quit. And because of that, you'll never be forgotten. This is your legacy. This is your reward. This is the echo of a life well fought. You didn't quit. You never quit. And that changed everything.